Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kelsey. I'm the creator of Bite Size Ancient History, and I studied ancient Greece, Rome, Egypt, classics, Egyptology, all that jazz, and that's what we're here to talk about on my channel. Specifically, today we're going to be talking about episode 5 of Netflix's Kaos. So if that sounds like anything you might be interested in, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future content. As I say always, I'm not here to say if it's a good or a bad show. I personally really like it. I'm just here to talk about what is accurate to ancient Greek mythology so that we can learn a little something new. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's summarise quickly what's happening in this episode. Episode 5 starts with the character Prometheus, giving us the backstory as to how he ended up being pinned up on a massive cliff with birds pecking at his organs. And they acknowledge the fact that we will have been told a story that he famously gave fire to the mortals. Zeus got angry, and this is his punishment for him. However, he corrects us and says that it's because he stood up to Zeus, and that he was told that he now basically has to appease him by going through this punishment, re-earning his trust in order to overthrow Zeus. We then also go back to Ariadne, and I feel like we haven't seen her for 1 or 2 episodes. Definitely, at least, I don't think she was in the last episode at all. And the Furies have basically caught up with her finally. She's sleeping, wakes up, and she's in this like baby onesie, which is that she wore with her twin brother that unfortunately died when they were both young. She's thought the whole time, as we found out in other episodes, that she accidentally killed him, and that's why her mum hates her and is torturing her. The Furies make her sit down to watch a tape to basically learn what has happened. And what we find out is that it was actually her dad, King Minos, who gets Daedalus to kill the brother, basically in exchange for power and key immortality from Poseidon. And he gets Daedalus to do it for him because it turns out he's actually being held prisoner by Minos and is not just a member of staff. Ariadne, quite rightly, is quite freaked out by this. She doesn't believe it, and she thinks it's the Furies' attempt of basically making her go crazy, as is their job. So she runs away, and the Furies are like, okay, we've done all we do. We've shown you what you need to see. You go do your thing. Ariadne escapes, goes back home, bumps into King Minos, and is like, remind me what you said your prophecy was again. And he's skirting around the subject. He's like, I haven't read it in like 2 decades. I wouldn't know. And she's like, interesting. Interesting that you don't remember that really important thing. And then she also sees Daedalus. So she confronts him and is like, are you a prisoner here? And he's like, well, I'm allowed to roam quite far, but yes, I am a prisoner. You see in the background of this as well that he's got these drawings of wings, and we find out that his son Icarus used these to try and escape him when he found out that he had murdered the child, and obviously it did not go well. Icarus died. He also makes suggestion that he's being held prisoner, probably because Minos didn't want him being taken up by anybody else, which is interesting. And importantly, it turns out that the dead brother isn't actually dead. Glaucus is the Minotaur. Hera continues her affair with Poseidon, having a great time, while Zeus and Dionysus, having less of a great time, continue to plague the mortals. Lots of different things like tornadoes, earthquakes, lightning, fire, all that jazz. Then, if you remember from the previous episodes, Hera has her priestesses, the Tacitas, and they have their own little home, which they refer to as Hera's bathroom, saying that this is a place that Zeus is banned from ever going. However, he's Zeus, so of course occasionally he sneaks in, has a little listen to the different voices going on of people admitting their truths. What does he hear when he's there? Hera having the affair with Poseidon. So naturally, he's pretty concerned. He kind of is okay with the fact that maybe she's taking lovers, but he's starting to lose it, thinking that there's a conspiracy going against him. So that's what he begins to fixate on, is that maybe she's having this affair and trying to overthrow him in some way. To find out if this is true or not, he abducts one of the priestesses and tortures and kills her because she does not give the information up. Hera discovers that this has happened, and she confronts Zeus and basically begs him, well, not begs him, but like, she kind of manipulates him to be like, I would never do that to you. Like, remember, I'm also the queen, not just your wife, blah, blah, blah. Zeus eventually believes her. She does try and be like, can you show me the proof of this? And he can't find it, so it doesn't look great. But yeah, he does inevitably believe her. But we kind of end up thinking Hera's not happy with the fact that he's just killed one of her priestesses. So she's definitely coming after him now. Back in the underworld, Hades finds Nax in this underground area where we see all the people that have passed through the gate. Do they call it a gate? I think so. And he, what we see, I'm pretty sure, kills Nax, peacefully lets him go. And Eurydice and Kaos witness this happening. Eurydice, however, seems to be in pain after seeing it. Kaos not. We're not sure why. Finally, the episode ends with Orpheus successfully washing up on the beach in the underworld. So, with Prometheus's backstory, I love that they acknowledge the fact they're like, look, some of you will have read the Greek myths and we know that you think Prometheus stole fire to give to the humans. So I like that they're acknowledging, they're like, yes, this is the myth it's based on. No, we're taking some liberty with it, because otherwise, I actually like it, because otherwise we know exactly what is happening. It means that if you've studied classics, you're not going to enjoy the series, because you know. So, I can't remember if in previous episodes I've said this, I probably have. But yes, Prometheus is known for being the titan that steals fire from the gods to give to humanity in order that they can progress and evolve, basically. Fire obviously being, we can cook food, we can build certain things and become a functioning humanity. It's a very important thing. He says it wasn't so much this, it was because I stood up to him and said that he had become everything he hated. There's not a moment where he does this. However, on like a metaphorical level, it kind of is, because when we remember that Zeus overthrew his own father, the one who had eaten all of him and his siblings, if you remember from the previous episode, the idea was that he was establishing this new, more just order. But here he is limiting the humans and saying that they can't progress and that they have to be continually subservient to the gods. So it kind of makes sense that then Prometheus comes in and he's like, so why aren't we giving them this? Why? You're being a hypocrite. It makes sense. It's a justifiable liberty. Okay, it's also slightly different in the fact that in this he says he has to lie and rebuild his trust, and that's why we see these scenes that even though he's being tortured by Zeus, he's being very nice to him. In reality, in Greek myth, kind of like this, Prometheus is privy to the fact that there is a prophecy about Zeus's downfall, that supposedly he will have a child. We think it's with the nymph Thetis, and that his child will overthrow him, similarly to how he did his own father. And Prometheus says that unless he ends his eternal punishment, he will not tell him what this prophecy is. In order to gain this information, Zeus lets the hero Hercules, you probably will have heard of him, release Prometheus. And when he has this knowledge, Zeus marries Thetis off to a mortal man, Peleus. Interestingly enough, they have a son, Achilles, from the Trojan War, Homer's Trojan War. The Troy story. Very, very powerful man. Does not kill Zeus. Moving on to Ariadne. What I find really interesting here is that when they play the tapes, the tape is titled The Thread Prophecy. Seems very unimportant. However, if you know the Greek myth, you know that Ariadne uses a thread to help the hero Theseus escape the Minotaur's maze. Theseus is a classical Greek hero. He is a priest. He's not a priest, what am I saying? He is a prince from a different Greek island. And this Greek island basically has a deal with Crete where they have to send so many children to be sacrificed and given as food to the Minotaur, basically as a treaty. He is not so happy with this. So he volunteers to be one of these people, and Ariadne falls in love with him, wants to use him to escape, whatever your interpretation, gives him a thread to basically follow him around the maze so that when he's trying to escape again from the Minotaur, he can find his way back out of the maze. So I am curious as to how that's going to come into play here, because they're now acknowledging it openly. In this tape, we see Minos and Poseidon having a conversation where Poseidon is offering Minos immortality and power in exchange for a few favours. Poseidon never offers to make Minos immortal. However, he does offer him power. And basically, when Minos comes to the throne, or has the opportunity to come to power in Crete, he prays to Poseidon to be like, can you give me a sign that I can show the people that I have divine right to rule? And what Poseidon does is gift him a divine bull. I think I may have covered it in other episodes, but we'll go through it again, just very quickly. And this bull, best bull, everybody knows about it. And Minos is like, I'm going to keep this to myself. Forgetting the fact, well, not forgetting, choosing to conveniently forget that he has agreed to sacrifice this in honour of Poseidon. He tries to get around this and sneak by him by sacrificing a different bull. Poseidon obviously notices and punishes him. What does he do? He makes Minos' wife, Pasiphae, I think they call her Pas in the show, fall in love with this bull. What does this do? She then has a baby with said bull. Half human, half bull, Minotaur. That is how the Minotaur was born. The first thing he asks him to do is to release a lion from the Heraklion Zoo, Heraklion being the capital of modern-day Crete. No, don't know what this is referencing. I think it's just random. But then it seems like a weird random thing to add. Comment down below if you have any idea, because I'm a little bit stumped with this one. The next request he makes is that he explicitly have children. No reference to this. And then Minos reveals that he's had the prophecy that he will be killed by his firstborn. Again, nothing like this related to Minos. However, as we've discussed in previous videos, this does happen a lot in Greek mythology. We already mentioned that Zeus receives the prophecy that he's going to be killed one of his children. His father Kronos received the prophecy that he was going to be killed by one of his children. Laius has the son Oedipus, and they have the prophecy that he's going to kill him and try and avoid that. So it's a common theme. Not angry, we've just applied it here to make it work with the storyline. And no, unfortunately, Daedalus did not kill one of his children. Well, doesn't kill because it becomes a Minotaur. However, as we've said before, he is involved with the plot of the Minotaur. Daedalus is the famous inventor, craftsman, who creates this maze that nobody can escape from to house the Minotaur. And this is kind of referenced when he says, oh, I think that he kept me here because he didn't want anybody else to use me. And that is stated in Greek myths, is that Minos basically keeps him prisoner once he builds the maze because he doesn't want anybody to know the secret of the maze and how to get out. His son, Icarus, does try and escape, but not from him. They escape together. They fashion the wings by collecting candle wax and the feathers of any birds flying by them while they've been imprisoned. Both of them try and escape with this, and as the myth goes, Icarus flew too close to the sun and the wax melts, and unfortunately he falls to his death. So he is dead, like in the series, but not for this reason. He didn't try and run away from him because Daedalus had killed a child. But yes, that does mean that he is a prisoner rather than staff member, so that is correct. While they're showing this tape, the Furies say, like, F the gods, basically, that they don't care, they are their own entities. Kind of true. So they serve divine morals, basically, of what is right or wrong, and if people go against these and commit certain crimes, you get chased by the Furies, as we see. They don't necessarily attack the gods, but they don't necessarily agree with them sometimes. So a famous example of this is in a series of 3 plays called the Oresteia, written by Aeschylus. In the third play, titled Eumenides, they disagree with the goddess Athena, who basically thinks that the punishment that they're delivering to somebody is too harsh. Who is this person? What is the punishment? They are trying to punish a man called Orestes for killing his own mother, the mother being Clytemnestra. Why did Orestes try and kill his mother, however? Because yeah, that's a bad crime. The Furies are right for going after him. However, he tried to kill his mother because his mother killed his father, Agamemnon, in Trojan War. So they're like, well, it's not good, but it's kind of justified because he was defending the honour of his father. So Athena intervenes and stops the Furies from chasing him. Eventually the Furies finally concede, but they're not happy with this new order of Olympian justice. There's also an important side note to add to this level of mess. The Clytemnestra didn't kill Agamemnon without good reason. Like, he was having affairs, for one. But mainly, he sacrificed one of their daughters, Iphigenia. He sacrificed her because it meant that they would appease the goddess and win a war, but he killed their daughter, so she's not happy about that and kills him, which is fair enough. And when I say affairs, he literally brings all men home to their house to live with them. Like, and that woman's Cassandra, actually, that we've also met in this show. There's a lot going on. Was Glaucus the Minotaur? Yes and no. Ariadne did have a brother called Glaucus that we talked about before that does die. And in some myths, the seer Polydectes tries to bring him back to life and turns him into a marine creature, but not a Minotaur. The Minotaur is a half-brother to Ariadne because, as we've said, it's the son of Poseidon and her mother Pasiphae, not of Minos. While Zeus is torturing all of the mortals, we get a news display of all the different things he's doing. One of them is the fact that the volcano Methina has erupted. This is another name, the old name, for what we would now call Mount Etna, real volcano. Typically not associated with Zeus though, associated with a different god, Hephaestus. This is famously his workshop. He was the craftsman god. He would make armour, weapons, and so on here. Maybe tenuous connection. He is supposedly the person who creates the lightning bolts of Zeus, and he does so in this volcano. So maybe. Another is the plague of locusts happening in Sparta. Zeus is not traditionally associated with sending a plague of locusts. This is more Christian Bible stuff. This is one of the 10 plagues that God sends when he's upset with everyone, rather than Zeus. So we've like merged religions. However, locusts were a very real problem in ancient Greece, and these kinds of problems or plagues would be associated with the gods. So while we don't have like a written record saying Zeus sent these, they may have verbally said it in ancient Greece. It's not out of the question. He also doesn't ever send specifically a plague to Sparta. However, in Homer's Iliad, he does send a plague against the Greeks to punish them when Apollo basically offends the gods by dishonouring one of Apollo's priests. This is why he has to sacrifice his daughter. So it's not unheard of. Yes, he is traditionally associated with lightning storms. He is the god of thunder. So this one makes total sense, hence he's always depicted with like the lightning bolt. And with thunder and lightning comes storms, but they mention specifically a tornado in northern Eurasia. I can't really find what this is referencing. I think it might just be the idea of general chaos and disruption rather than specific Greek myths. Again, they say that the sea turned to blood. This is definitely more Christianity and the Bible plague than Greek mythology. He also doesn't have a particular love of fire as a method of destroying people. Again, I don't know, fire is an effective way, so maybe that's all we're saying here. And then I'm really sorry to end it on like another like this isn't right note, but it's fine. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Zeus never like tortures one of Hera's priestesses or the Tacita in Greek mythology. He loves a bit of torture like they all do, but not specifically like this. And I think that is everything for today's video. So don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future content. I will eventually get to this end. I'm going to try that again. I will eventually get to the end of this series and we'll be getting on to some new stuff. So if you have any suggestions, also comment below and I'll be happy to check those out and create some new videos for you. Have a lovely week and I'll see you soon. Bye!